Hey, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, my name is Jim. I'm a musician and a licensed psychotherapist, and I'm sharing the healing power of music. Today, we're going to dive into the river with Bruce Springsteen, the boss. This one's got it all, you guys. Love, loss, the quiet heartbreak of adulthood. This is a message that connects with just about everyone, right? I mean, there's a kind of sadness that we can all experience that doesn't come from heartbreak. It comes from living. From watching your dreams bend under the weight of time, responsibility, and reality. And Bruce Springsteen's The River isn't just a story. It's a mirror for those moments when life doesn't turn out the way that we thought it would. Springsteen wrote The River in 1980, and he was inspired by his sister and brother-in-law. Two young people who got married and found themselves caught between that rock and a hard place called love and economics. Right? It's a story that many people recognize. You start out full of hope and freedom, but life, bills, children, health, aging, all of these things slowly start to reshape your story.
Is a dream a lie if it don't come true? Or is it something worse?
He asks, is a dream a lie if it don't come true, or is it something worse? That line, that's not just a lyric. That's a lifetime compressed into a question. The River is a song about loss, but not the dramatic kind. It's about quiet loss. The loss of innocence, the loss of simplicity, the loss of who we thought we'd become.
Now those memories come back to haunt me. They haunt me like a curse.
When Springsteen sings, "Now those memories come back to haunt me, they haunt me like a curse," he's describing something that is profoundly human. And that's how nostalgia can both comfort us and break our hearts. In therapy, we often explore the grief of unmet dreams. Most people expect grief to follow death, but it also follows change. The person that you were at 20 doesn't always survive into 40. The relationship that you started that was full of promise, it might not hold the same light after years of struggle. And sometimes we look back and we wonder, was that the moment that life quietly changed direction and I just missed it? Yet, even in the sadness, even in the struggles of the river, there's something redemptive. It's in the honesty. It's in the refusal to pretend. This is the kind of song that tells the truth that most of us are afraid to say out loud. That growing up often means learning to love what remains, not what was lost. When you listen to The River, notice what part of your own story it stirs. Maybe it reminds you of a lost love, or the weight of responsibility, or the feeling of watching a dream slip away. But maybe, just maybe, it also reminds you that even in the disappointment, there's dignity, there's purpose, that living an ordinary life with all of its cracks and compromises still has value. There's beauty in showing up and being committed and staying the course, in remembering. Springsteen once said that The river was about finding meaning in things you can't escape. That's what most of us are trying to do. Turn what we've lost into something we can still live with. And he's absolutely right. I agree. This is a universal message that people need to hear. Would you help me to reach them by giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel? I thank you on their behalf, and I appreciate it. I want more and more people to enjoy the beauty of the river in their life. So for those of you that want to go even deeper, let me leave you with some opportunity to apply this, okay? If you were in therapy, here's what I would want us to focus on. And whether it's a relationship that didn't turn out, a dream that didn't materialize, or simply life not unfolding the way that we imagined, disappointment has a way of shaking us. And as a therapist, I have seen how people respond to disappointment and how that can shape the entire direction of their emotional lives. Disappointment is essentially a form of grief. It's the emotional response to a gap between expectation and reality. So when we expect something to happen, a promotion, a relationship, an apology, and it doesn't happen, right? The brain reacts almost like it does with loss. We're mourning the version of reality that we hoped for. So the first step is acknowledging that disappointment is not weakness. It's a natural emotional process. You're not broken because you feel let down. You're human. Secondly, I would say let yourself feel it without judgment. Most people try to rush through disappointment because it's uncomfortable. We say things like, oh, I shouldn't feel this way, or it's not a big deal. It is what it is, right? But that only traps the emotion inside. We don't want to suppress things. Disappointment needs to be felt in order to be processed. So give yourself permission to feel sad, to feel frustrated, even angry. Write it out. Talk about it. Go for a walk. Let the emotion breathe. When we avoid disappointment, it doesn't disappear. It just turns into resentment or self-blame, remorse. Thirdly, I'd say don't personalize it. And this is a big one. When something doesn't work out, our minds often jump to, what's wrong with me? What is my problem? But disappointment isn't always a reflection of your worth or ability. Sometimes it's simply about timing. It's about circumstances or factors that are beyond our control. So try shifting the question from why me to what can I learn from this? See, that change in perspective turns disappointment into a teacher instead of a tormentor. Number 4, I would say revisit and reset your expectations. Disappointment often signals that an expectation might need adjusting. And that doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means making them realistic and flexible. So ask yourself, was my expectation based on reality or on hope? Did I have control over the outcome? What might a more balanced expectation look like next time? See, growth comes from learning how to dream again, but this time with eyes open and feet on the ground. Number 5, Use it as a moment of redirection. Sometimes disappointment is not a dead end, it's a detour. Many of the clients that I've seen who experience deep disappointment later realized that it redirected them towards something that was far better, but it wasn't on their radar. It more closely connected and was fulfilling with who they are and who they wanted to become. So instead of asking, why didn't this work out? Try asking, where might this be pointing now? That simple shift can transform disappointment from a wall into a doorway. Disappointment will visit you many times throughout life, but it doesn't have to define you. If you can learn to face it with honesty, feel it without judgment, and stay curious about what it's trying to teach you, it can become one of your greatest tools for emotional growth. Remember, healing doesn't mean avoiding pain. It means learning how to move through it with compassion and courage.